So far we have only drawn lines that have got a positive gradient. So that is the number that multiplies the x. So if that number's positive, it means it has a positive gradient. And all of those lines have sloped upwards from left to right. Now, if you've got a negative gradient, so a negative number that multiplies the x, then the lines slope downwards from left to right. Now, to draw these lines, we follow the exact same steps as before, but because we will be dealing with negative numbers, we need to be careful when we are working out our coordinates and filling in the table. Now we're going to have a look at doing an example. So draw the line y equals negative 2x plus 3. So this negative 2 means that we've got a negative gradient, which means when we draw our line, it should be sloping down the way from left to right. Now, same steps as before. So step 1 is draw the table. So here it is. X always goes here, and then whatever the equation of the line is goes underneath it. Step 2 is choose the x values. So those are the numbers that go along the top. Now, before we were choosing 0 to 4, I think it was, but now we're going to choose some negative numbers just so we can see more of the whole picture of the line. So we're going to choose the numbers negative 3 to positive 3. Once we've done that, then we need to calculate the y values. So this is the only bit that's a little bit different from the lines we're used to drawing. Because we are multiplying by a negative number, we have to be very careful when we're working out our answers. So I'm going to do all the working down here for the y values that I'm going to put in the top. So the first one is negative 3. And my equation is y equals negative 2x plus 3. So I'm going to be doing negative 2 multiplied by negative 3 plus 3. And remember, a negative multiplied by a negative ends up being a positive. So 2 times 3 is 6, and it's just going to be a positive 6. So we end up with 6 plus 3, which is 9. So our first value in the table is 9. For the next point, we're going to be doing negative 2 multiplied by negative 2 plus 3. And again, we've got a negative times a negative, so that's going to be positive. So 4 plus 3, which is 7. So 7 is our next value. Next one is negative 1. So negative 2 multiplied by negative 1 is positive 2. And 2 plus 3 is 5. Next one, negative 2 multiplied by 0 is just 0. And 0 plus 3 is 3. Next one, we've got negative 2 multiplied by 1. And we've got a negative times a positive. So when you've got a negative and a positive, they turn into a negative. So it'll be negative 2 plus 3, which is 1. For the next one, again, it's a negative times a positive. So it's going to be a negative answer. So 2 times 2 is 4. So negative 4 plus 3, which is negative 1. And the last one, again, a negative times a positive. So it'll be a negative answer. So negative 6 plus 3, which is negative 3. Now, once you've done that, you're moving on to the last step, which is step 4, same as before. You write down your coordinates, so you're going to read them off vertically. So the first one would be negative 3, 9. And then you're going to use them to draw your line on a graph. So we've got all our coordinates. We've drawn a graph with appropriate axes. Remember, it's up to you what you want to go up in, as long as you're going up evenly. And you've got 0 at the origin. And we're going to just plot all of our points. Remember, it's along the way first. This time we've got negative numbers. So if your first number is negative, you're going along the way to the left. So along to 3 and up to 9. If you've got a second number that's negative, that means you'll be going down the way. So for example, for 2, negative 1, you're going along to 2, but down to negative 1. So your points should form a straight line, and you should be able to put a ruler through them. If you're finding that your points are not forming a straight line, then you've probably gone wrong somewhere in your calculations when you were working out the y values. So just go back and check that you've done them all correctly. And that is how you draw straight lines with negative gradients.